My first job out of law school was working for a federal judge. And my first week there, or maybe my first couple weeks, I wrote a motion for him or an opinion. And the opinion was maybe 40 pages long. And I thought more text is better. It's better to really do an exhaustive argument and so forth. And meanwhile, my co-clerk was writing things that were 4 and 5 pages, and he was perfectly happy with them. But I was very interested in the subject matter of everything I did. So I always worked really hard, but not necessarily the smartest thing. So he called me into his office. He said, "Can you come into my office?" And I went in, and he had 2 doors. He closed both of them. He sat down and he was mad. His face was red. He said, "Look at page 16 or 26 or something." I looked at him. I said, What's the problem?" And he pointed out that I had misspelled a word, and the word was misspelled because my spell check hadn't caught it, and it was the wrong meaning. It was, I don't know, like THER instead of THEIR or something along those lines, or THRE. It's a stupid error like that. But he was very upset about it. He's like, "This is unacceptable. You can't be turning in work like this. This, would make me look horrible if I put this out in public." And at the time, I was like, "This guy's a freaking idiot. He's so uptight." That this is how I thought about it. There's something, he's got a screw loose. He's more interested in style over substance. But the thing is because I had to keep my job and because I knew how important it was, I started aggressively proofreading my stuff. So I would spend half of the time, or maybe 30% of my time, was writing. And then the other 70% was polishing things and making sure it was perfect. And the result of all that was when I got into practicing law, all of a sudden, like, I started turning in work and I was way ahead of my peers. So when I got into a law firm, everyone wanted to work with me, like my work. And I did very well. And when I left that clerkship job, I still thought the guy was like a freak about details and stuff. But then years later, I wrote him a letter when I realized how much he'd helped me, because I realized the importance of really doing a good job with this stuff and making sure that everything is perfect. And you're not going to catch stuff just with this grammar software, by the way. I recommend using a couple of different things. But when you turn in very good work and you don't make errors, then you have a very good chance of getting positions. And I had another thing that was very interesting to me happen. Then I'd been practicing law for a year, and then decided I wanted to lateral to another firm. And I sent my resume to someone that was setting my resume on. And I said, "Well, you just changed my dates of employment and write in the right dates." And they were off by a month, and the law firm caught it, almost didn't hire me. So this type of stuff is these errors and tight language and all these sorts of things really make a difference. And so people can look at your resume and they can tell immediately what a kind of attorney you are. And the more you're writing, if you don't feel up to par, like you're a really good attorney, and you don't understand, and you're doing things like, "I certify to the best of my belief and knowledge," this is just not this kind of stuff you see on resumes like that. And so you just need to be very careful. You need to keep your language very tight and not make too many errors, not say too much. Because the more you say, the more you're exposing your weakness. I didn't know that, and I should, and I think I do know actually, but I didn't know that Thomas Jefferson lost its accreditation or got it back, or when it was. No one told me that. Now I know. And is that a good thing? Probably not. I certainly, when I was in school, I never went overseas or anything like that. Frankly, I couldn't afford to. Is that something that you want to put on your resume? I don't know. And then all this stuff, you have every resume here. Part of the problem with a lot of these resumes is you don't realize who you're speaking to. So if you want to talk about Harvard Business School and you're trying to get a job as an attorney, that's probably not a good idea. You want to lead with all the legal stuff you're doing. And you have to have a resume that reads like somebody would want to see at a law firm. They need to believe that you want to do this stuff. So this is some of the mistakes that a lot of people are making here. And these spacing issues and all this kind of stuff. So you guys really want to make sure with your resumes that you have to proof them. You have to shorten them down and realize no one cares. No one cares about all this stuff. Like, they know for the most part, if you go to a certain place, you're going to be doing a certain type of work. And so they don't really need all this detail. And then when you start listing things that really aren't that significant as your experience, then that can hurt you as well. Okay, I'm going to take, looks like we're making pretty good progress at least today. So I'm going to take a break for maybe 2 to 3 minutes. And when I come back, we will get through hopefully a lot